Inside of the FGC, several arguments are constantly reoccurring every other second of the day. We have the arguments of Bridget's gender from Guilty Gear, she's a woman. We have the argument that players are getting carried by their characters. And most importantly, we have the argument that modern fighting games are brain-dead easy and extremely simple. But is that the case? Are modern fighting games something that anyone can pick up and become amazing with in practice? Well, technically yes. Any person playing any game has the ability to become good at that said game. That isn't a modern fighting game thing. That's just a general thing. That's pretty common knowledge, honestly. Although, within modern fighting games versus classical fighting games, there are several differences I'd like to address. Firstly, the difference in knowledge. For example, while playing older fighting games like Ultra Street Fighter 4, when that game came out, the internet wasn't very explosive. When getting into that game in 2008, you couldn't pull out your phone, get on YouTube, and look up how to play Ultra Street Fighter 4. You wouldn't get a stage jam video explaining the neutral and the basic of Street Fighter 4. You'd be lucky if you got anything, let alone for your character. However, now, with the release of Street Fighter 6, you can open YouTube and search how to play Street Fighter 6, and you'll get a Justin Wong video, a Punk video, and a Diaphone video. And when you need access to character-specific information, there are discords built with networks of these players in order to understand the fundamental of your characters and their playstyle. So if you consider the game easier just because you have access to modern-day technology, then sure, it's easier. However, it isn't exactly fair to judge the game based on the time changes. Let's talk about the Street Fighter specific topic, modern controls. Yes, okay, it does make the game fundamentally easier. However, you lose access to specific moves within the character's moveset. For example, Manon loses access to standing heavy kick while in modern, while in classic she has access to this move that she uses in neutral. This isn't an instant, I can play the game better than you button. Another part of modern is that your damage gets reduced while performing one button inputs. Thus, there are heavy drawbacks to modern controls. And within this, if modern controls were as good as some people think they are, then modern controls would be seen at a high level play religiously. However, that doesn't happen. Alright, back to a non-Street Fighter argument. The argument of old fighting games are harder than new fighting games. Yeah, this is true. I think that this is true for bad reasons. What I mean by that is that does anyone want to / have the time to learn character-specific combos in fighting games? Or learn each character-specific wake-up times? I don't think so. However, just because old fighting games are harder does not make new fighting games any easier. Let me reiterate. Just because old fighting games are harder does not make new fighting games any less difficult. Yes, Street Fighter 3rd Strike is a very difficult game to learn. That's why my player base is alive and yours is struggling. That being said, Street Fighter 6, Guilty Gear Strive, and Tekken 8 are not easy games. Listen, Street Fighter 6 is an easy game for me because I have over 400 hours left into the game. Believe it or not, the more you play it, the easier it becomes. That being said, do you know how hard it is for new players to understand inputs? The answer is very. Sure, inputs are easy for people who have played a shit ton of fighting games. But for people who are playing just to get into the game for the first time, yeah, that shit sucks. Let's look at Guilty Gear Strive for an example. And let's look at my favorite Guilty Gear Strive character, Jacko Valentine. Here, it lists one of her easy combos. Let me read it to you. J.H into J, 236K or 2K into 2D into 66.RRC, 236P, 2D into 214K into dash C.S into 5H and into 236K and WS into 6H. Listen, I'm sure that's an easy combo for veteran Guilty Gear players who have been playing this game for ages. But as someone who came from Street Fighter, Dragon Ball FighterZ, and Smash Bros, this was not an easy thing to perform. And by not easy, I mean I still haven't gotten it. Listen, by no means am I saying that fighting games need to be easier. I think the difficulty where they are currently is perfect. But I can't stand everyone acting like they're brain dead easy. Speaking of brain dead easy, let's talk about that for a second. Modern fighting games don't have footsies. Dude, no game has footsies. What are we talking about? You know what fighting game has footsies? The fighting game footsies. That's it. Oh, but old fighting games had some good old-fashioned footsies. Interesting. These footsies? Oh wait, no, sorry. You must be in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 footsies.
This is a model I can play with.
All right, well, let's go back to the match. It's the grand finals.
Interesting. And I don't even count Tekken. That was a game built on footsies. And you know what's neat? Tekken 8 still has footsies, except for Elisa, but she's been in Tekken for a while. Speaking of Tekken, let's talk about Tekken 8, the game that I just started playing. Tekken 8 isn't an easy game, just in general. Within picking up Tekken 8, I was reminded about the difficulty of the genre as a whole. After pouring so many hours into Street Fighter 6, I was beginning to think that the genre was easy. I was used to the moves that you have to deal with in order to improve. Honda Headbutt, Ken Heavy Dragon Lash, and Guile existed. I was just so used to it all. But when I got into Tekken 8, I was instantly woken back up into reality. When you don't know the game inside and out, this is not an easy thing to get into. You have to have the want to improve and be willing to be terrible at the game for a while. And being terrible sucks. On another note, I was talking to a friend and he made this statement that Tekken 7 is so much more difficult than Tekken 8. I cannot confirm or deny that statement as I didn't play Tekken 7. However, neither did he. He picked up Tekken 7 after playing Tekken 8 for 300 plus hours and noticed that he couldn't do the same things he could in Tekken 7 that he could in 8. And that goes back to my original point. Fighting game players are blinded by how long they've been playing. These games feel easier to us because of how long we've played them for. But fighting games is a hard genre of games to get into. We don't need to compare the difficulty of Street Fighter 6 to Street Fighter 2. They are way too different to be compared properly. When talking about a game, we need to judge the game based on what it currently is, and not what the series was long ago. It's been a bit. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe at least. You should also like it and comment. That'd be very, very nice. Anyways, that's all I had to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye bye.